Hakai.
At the palace of the Omni King Zeno, the day is proceeding normally. As always, the two Zenos spend their time on trivial activities, watched over by their guards, and also by the Grand Priest, who, as always, remains completely calm. Overall, everything is at peace with the top echelons of the divine hierarchy of the multiverse, but this calm was about to be broken. Suddenly, the Grand Priest receives an urgent call, with someone communicating directly into his mind, telepathically, to deliver urgent news. When the Grand Priest is informed of what happened, the usual calm smile on the Grand Priest's face disappears instantly. He quickly announces to the guards and the Zenos that he will have to leave to deal with something. The guards notice the tension on the Supreme Angel's face, and although they don't ask, they immediately realize that something is wrong, and it's very serious. Even the Zenos notice that something has changed in the Grand Priest and ask what's the matter. The Grand Priest forces a smile to disguise it and simply tells the Zenos that it's nothing major. The Zenos, naive as they are, believe the Grand Priest's words without question and ask him not to take too long to return. The Grand Priest bids farewell to the Zenos, pretending tranquility and normality, but as soon as he moves away from them, his expression changes completely. Something is truly troubling the Supreme Angel. Leaving Zeno's palace, the Grand Priest heads at full speed to a place called the Divine Prison, one of the most important locations in the entire multiverse, because it is where the worst criminals in multiverse history are held, those who were not erased by the Great Zeno. In this place are some of the most powerful beings the multiverse has ever seen. The reason for the Grand Priest visit to that prison is that not long ago, an explosion occurred there, destroying a large part of the facility and freeing some of the inmates. The Grand Priest asked the prison director who was responsible for the explosion, and the director says that the initial point of the blast came from the cell of prisoner 666. When the Grand Priest hears this number, his eyes widen instantly. Losing the little calm he had left, the Grand Priest asks the prison director how such a thing could happen and whether standard procedures were being followed. The director, very frightened by the situation, responds that yes, the standard procedures were being followed. He doesn't know how it happened. The Grand Priest says it's useless to argue about that now because the prisoners must be found immediately, especially prisoner 666. On Beerus' planet, an intense battle takes place between Goku and Vegeta, with Broly watching. Unlike the fight they had some time ago where they couldn't use any transformations, in this battle, Goku and Vegeta are using their maximum powers. Goku uses his true Ultra Instinct, while Vegeta uses his Ultra Ego. At first, Vegeta's disadvantage in the fight is extremely clear, as he simply cannot track Goku in combat, constantly being outmaneuvered by his evasions and frustrated by his defenses. Goku manages to outmatch him in every move and consistently finds openings to land extremely powerful and precise attacks on Vegeta. But after some time, the course of the fight begins to change, as Vegeta, absorbing Goku's attacks, rapidly increases his power level. His strikes, fueled by the impulse for destruction, gradually start to put pressure on Goku. Broly, for his part, watches everything almost hypnotized, his gaze more focused on every movement of the fight than a tiger's on its prey. Chilai, on his side, is completely bored, while Lemo is only concerned with not letting the food he's cooking fall due to the planet's numerous tremors. Beerus boasts to Whis while they watch the fight. He says that, not long ago, Whis was full of himself because Goku was winning, but now, it seems the game has turned. Whis laughs when Beerus throws that in his face and asks if by any chance he's feeling proud of Vegeta. Beerus immediately scowls, telling Whis to stop saying ridiculous things. He's just happy that he's proving to be a better mentor than Whis. That's all. But their conversation is interrupted when Whis receives a call from his father, the Grand Priest, who is convening an emergency meeting with all the angels, gods of destruction, and Supreme Kais. From the tone of the summons, Whis already realizes that the matter isn't good and says they need to hurry. It doesn't take long for Shin to arrive on Beerus' planet, calling Whis and Beerus to go to the Zeno Palace. When Goku and Vegeta see the Kaioshin there, they pause the fight for a moment, looking on curiously. But without giving any explanation or warning, Whis and Beerus leave the planet with the Kaioshin. Vegeta grows very curious, wondering what's going on. Goku, on the other hand, becomes extremely excited, realizing that now they can do whatever they want. When Broly hears that they'll be free to do as they please, he doesn't waste a moment and rushes toward Goku and Vegeta, transforming into a Super Saiyan, ready to attack them. Goku and Vegeta smile, already forgetting the curiosity from moments ago and preparing to fight again, full of excitement. At the Zeno's palace, the atmosphere is anything but excitement. All the gods and angels are summoned, and they are very tense, wanting to know the reason for this emergency meeting, especially because the expression of the Grand Priest is very different from usual. His usual calm expression and friendly smile have been replaced by a closed and worried look, one that almost no one there has ever seen before. Without any delay, the Grand Priest begins the meeting by saying that something very serious has happened, probably the most severe problem to ever affect the 12 universes in a very, very long time. He informs the gods that the divine prison, the place where gods who violate divine laws and are not erased are sent, suffered an accident, and many prisoners have escaped. Beerus, who didn't even know what this so-called divine prison is, asks Whis what it is. Whis sighs and complains that Beerus really doesn't pay attention to the things he says or is very forgetful. He reminds Beerus that millions of years ago, in one of his classes about the multiverse, he spoke about the divine prison, the place where divine beings who commit crimes and are not punished directly with death are sent. Beerus says of course he wouldn't remember a boring class from millions of years ago. He also comments that he thought Zeno eliminated all criminal gods. Whis says no, not all. Indeed, some gods are punished immediately with death by the great Zeno, but others, many who don't have direct contact with him, are given different punishments, such as being sent to this prison. The Grand Priest adds to Whis' explanation, saying that many types of gods are sent to this prison for various crimes. Among these gods, not all are that strong. However, there are many powerful deities imprisoned there, beings who can truly threaten the 12 universes. However, according to the Grand Priest, among all the prisoners who escape, there is one who greatly worries him, and this being is prisoner 666, a god named Ozaru. When the Grand Priest says this name, the angels immediately go on alert. However, none of the gods of destruction or Supreme Kais know who he is. The Grand Priest then decides to explain to them who this being is. Meanwhile, on Beerus' planet, Broly as a Super Saiyan, Goku in Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta and Ultra Ego fight intensely in a training battle. However, they are interrupted when something falls onto the planet, a kind of flame beam that explodes upon hitting the ground. Of course, everyone is very surprised by this, and the three Saiyan warriors go to investigate what just happened. When they reach the spot where the flame jet landed, they are astonished to see that what fell wasn't an object, but a person who had in fact just made a very aggressive landing. This person is very peculiar. He is a strange being, resembling both a man and a primate. And speaking of the human part, he slightly resembles a Saiyan. Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are very intrigued when they see this guy, wondering who he is and what he wants there. At the Zeno's palace, the Grand Priest answers the question about who Ozaru, prisoner 666, is. The Grand Priest says that Ozaru is a predecessor of Beerus, specifically the first god of destruction of Universe 7. He was considered by Daishinkan to be the greatest god of destruction of all time. However, he committed a serious crime against divine laws and became an immeasurable danger. Beerus doesn't know who this guy is and asks Whis if he knows the person. Whis explains that he wasn't yet the angel responsible for the god of Universe 7 at that time, so he wasn't Ozaru's master and didn't even meet him. However, Whis does know the story behind this ancestral god of destruction, who was considered the greatest god of destruction of all time, but also became one of the greatest threats the multiverse's balance has ever faced. Quitela starts complaining to Beerus, saying that his ancestor is causing trouble. Beerus says it's not his fault, but even so, he'll solve the problem by destroying the guy if he finds him. But the Grand Priest warns Beerus that it won't be that easy, and that Ozaru is an extraordinary warrior. Whis adds to what his father just said, revealing that Ozaru is a predecessor of lineages of extremely powerful warriors, and he gave rise to a race they know very well, known as a great warrior race. When Beerus hears this, he even widens his eyes, already understanding what Whis meant. Meanwhile, on the planet of the Universe 7 god of destruction, Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are shocked when the intruder, Ozaru, begins to release his power, and at the same time calls them my children. Hey, everyone, did you enjoy this story? Honestly, I hope you did, because we loved creating it. If you like this new story from our channel, show us by leaving a like on the video, sharing it with someone you think might enjoy it, subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet, and also leaving a comment. And just to show me that you watched everything, comment something like Beerus' ancestor, the first god of destruction, Beerus versus Ozaru, or something like that. Anything related to the episode. For this story to continue on our channel, we need it to get a good number of views, so liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing really helps a lot. And it's always good to remember that producing this story doesn't affect the production of Dragon Ball Hakai at all. Alright? The manga's production doesn't stop because of these stories, so one thing doesn't affect the other. In other words, you can enjoy these other stories and want more of them without feeling bad about interfering with Dragon Ball Hakai. Actually, it's the opposite. The revenue we get from views on these other videos helps keep the production of the Dragon Ball Hakai manga going. So by liking, commenting, and sharing these stories, you're indirectly helping the manga. And if you want to help directly in the production of Dragon Ball Hakai and become a true hero of our channel, you can support us on Patreon. Starting with a very small contribution, you not only help directly in the production of Dragon Ball Hakai, but also gain some exclusive benefits from us, such as early access to the videos and the Hakai manga. It's thanks to these fans, our true Z and Super Warriors, that Dragon Ball Hakai is still alive. So come be part of this true elite of warriors who help keep this dream alive. To learn more about our Patreon, click the link in the video description and pinned comment. Alright, well, that's it everyone. A big hug to you all, and see you in the next video.